this is the new guy on the team. He's 22 years old, and it's looking like he's the big difference. We thought Trey Lance was going to be the big difference, but it's the strong safety who's 22 years old, not the first round pick, the 5th round pick. And I mean, he delivered the knockout blow last night, so I want to tell you a little bit who he is.
I'd like to know as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 22. It's interesting. He left USC early. He left after his junior year. He was the Pac-12 Player of the Year. So he had all the accolades, but then he ran like a 4.6 or something and was a 5th round pick. And you're thinking, why did you leave college early to be a 5th round pick? But the Niners always talked him up as he went to USC and he works out with Troy Polamalu. And I thought, like, okay, just because he knows Troy Polamalu doesn't mean he's going to be Troy Polamalu. But so far, he's playing like Troy Polamalu, who is a Hall of Fame former Defensive Player of the Year. The kid is from Corvallis, Oregon. He is. Did you see his post-game presser last night?
No, I didn't.
He's very soft-spoken. He's got a twinkle in his eye. He's got a smile. He has no chip on his shoulder. He has fun with the press. He is very humble. He thanks God a lot and his teammates and his coaches. But he has the presence of a guy who's my age. Clearly has, clearly was really well raised. Clearly has good parents, I'm guessing. He's the kind of young man that you are instantly endeared by. And you're happy that he's good. You're like, oh my God, we're going to get you every week. This is great. Yes.
Does he strike you as a deep thinker?
Yes. He's got a very quiet voice. I love this with defensive backs. Like, they're vicious. But when he talks, he's like, he's got a very quiet voice. He doesn't raise it. He just seems very mellow. Very mellow. But he also seems extremely smart. Maddie asked him, so how did you know that what did you see? Had they run that exact screen to Cooper Kupp? How did you know it was coming? How'd you jump it? And he was like, it's the same concept, but they dress it up. Sometimes it's a 2x2 set. He's the one receiver here. Sometimes it's 3x1. He's the 3 receiver. He's the 2 receiver. I'm like, wow, you're talking like a quarterback, right? Are you talking like a coordinator? And I think that's why these coaches have liked him from so early on. He came in at 21 and he had the professionalism of D'Amico Ryans. And I'm sure that's not common. There's a lot of great athletes who get to the league and don't have that yet. They've just been great athletes. And he has been hanging out with. That's why it's good to be, nepotism, a legacy like Kyle or Bosa or in this case Talanoa, who is grandfathered in with Troy Polamalu. You know what it takes at a young age. You've seen what it takes, not just to be a good. You might get in Bosa's case, the genes, but you also get the model, the mentoring of what it takes. Steph Curry watched his dad. It's important. Patrick Mahomes' dad was a pitcher in the major leagues. You see what it takes.
Your dad was a sports columnist.
That's right. That's all what it takes. You got to have ideas every day.
Oy. Not anymore, thank God.
Not anymore, thank God. This guy, Talanoa Hufanga, has 4 pass breakups and 2 interceptions through 4 games. I mean, if he keeps this up, he could be the Defensive Player of the Year. He could be. It's amazing what he's doing.
Now, let me ask you this. I heard someone compare him to Ronnie Lott.
Yeah.
Now, you never saw Ronnie play.
No.
Let me give you my impression of Ronnie. Ronnie also is highly intelligent and probably could see the game the way a coordinator could see it.
And a USC grad.
And, oh, yes, a USC guy. And Ronnie's from Washington, D.C. And, I'm very fond of Ronnie. I'm very fond of him. He, in addition to what you've described about Hufanga, Ronnie hit so hard, people were sort of scared to go in his area.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Lynch was like that as well.
Yes.
People, because they know if they caught the ball there, they would be punished hard.
Yeah.
Is Hufanga that kind of player?
No, no one hits that hard anymore. You're not really allowed to do it. So no. He's not the hardest hitting safety of all time. No. And plus also, Lott was such a great athlete that he played corner for the first few years of his career.
Right.
And was great at corner. So I think probably Troy Polamalu is a good a better comparison for Talanoa. And again, that guy is a Hall of Famer.
It's funny. One other thing about Ronnie. One time I was at training camp with the Niners up in Rockland, and Bill Walsh used to ride around on this big bike, with balloon tires. And so I was
Oh, like a
walking.
beach cruiser?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Like a Schwinn, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So he's
yeah.
riding
Like on
along.
Venice, like what you ride on Venice Beach. Okay, cool.
I've never been to Venice. Anyway, he used to have a little bell. You know,
Okay.
and
Would
if
he
you
use it?
come,
Would he use it?
use a
Oh,
bell.
he
Yeah.
would? Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Nice. I like that.
So one day I'm walking and he does the bell. So I got out of the way and he stopped. He was, I couldn't tell if Bill was friendly or was always on, trying to get the
Ah,
media on his side
sure,
because he was
sure.
very strategic. So I asked him, a lot of questions about Ronnie because Ronnie was young at that time. And he said, I'll tell you, Lowell, Ronnie is so great. And this is a direct quote, we can do more and more with him all the time.
More and more with him all the time. That's
That's
amazing.
what he said. And then he
Imagine
went off
like
on Mike.
yeah. Yeah, imagine having him. It's like this guy's a great corner, and like that one day, Bill and Seifert realized he'd be a much better safety, and just
Yeah.
like the idea of all the different things you could do, it must have evolved and expanded so much. Cool. All right,
Yeah.
let's answer some questions. Oh, go ahead,
Can I tell you one more story?
please.
You know how great 49ers used to go to the Raiders at the end of their career?
Yes,
This really
Roger
pissed me.
Craig, Tom
Yeah, this
Rathman,
pissed
right?
me
Yeah.
off. Yeah. So I guess it was the Chronicle sent me down there. I mean, I knew these guys, right?
Yeah.
Sent me down to, I guess it was previewing a game
Uh-huh.
to talk to Ronnie and to Roger Craig. So they told him I was coming down. Ronnie has his sandwich. He says, come on, Lowell, let's sit. We sit by the end of a building in the shade at lunchtime, all the time I wanted.
Wow.
Roger Craig says, I don't want to do it. Call me on my phone at night. I said, Roger, I could have called you from Oakland. He said, that's how I want to do it. Now, I like Roger Craig. I didn't like that.
Wow.
He did.
That's funny.
So I was in LA and I'm talking to him on the phone.
That's too bad.
Roger, I was
That's too
just
bad.
with Ronnie Lott, who's going to be a Hall of Fame player, and we sat and we had lunch together. So I'm kvetching, I know, but I like Roger Craig, and when I see him, we're cordial. But it always bugged me that he did that.
People don't forget Roger.